Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV News on the hour. I am Frank Omalape, and here are some of the stories we're filing at this time. The Federal High Court in Abuja has reaffirmed an earlier order that parties in the suit filed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, maintain the status quo. It, however, adjourned till November 17th with assurances of accelerated hearing in the legal challenge to alleged moves to force the Speaker out of office after his defection. Tambuwal was personally in court, accompanied by some leaders of the All Progressive Congress, but Justice Ahmed Mohammed declined to restore his security details. Lawmakers representing all the parties, however, have different interpretation of the status quo.
Status quo means the position before resumption of hostility, and hostility in this case is before the event which led to the filing of this suit occurred. So when you talk of status quo, it is that the position in which the Speaker was before he was divested of his security apparatus should continue to be.
Basically, at the time this action was filed, the issue of security had become a problem. So, but when they came into court, I think the security had been withdrawn. So with regard to status quo, I don't think there's any issue with regard to...
Oh, did he say restore? He didn't say restore. He didn't say this. He didn't say this. The status quo is that now we are in court. The court says enjoy the peaceful atmosphere until we determine this suit.
President Goodluck Jonathan has assured the aggrieved members of the People's Democratic Party in the Senate that he would ensure that the party leadership addresses the issue that sparked off their protests in the National Assembly this week. The senators has adjourned plenary abruptly on Tuesday and Wednesday to protest the alleged overbearing influence of the governors in the emergence of candidates that would fly the party's flag in next year's general elections. Specifically, the PDP caucus in the Red Chamber alleged that the governors had hijacked the party structures and used it to manipulate the last weekend World Congresses, which produced delegates that would elect the PDP candidates for the general elections. Worried by the development, especially with the threats by the aggrieved senators to frustrate government activities since Jonathan appeared to have left them to their fate, Senate President David Mark arranged a meeting between his colleagues and the president. Sources among the senators at the meeting, which also had in attendance the PDP National Chairman and some of his National Working Committee members, said Jonathan sympathized with the plight of the federal lawmakers and pledged to right the wrongs. Some members of the People's Democratic Party in Jigawa State have taken their protest over the outcome of the recent World Congress to the party secretariat in Abuja. A party faithful from Jigawa Northeast claimed they were marginalized by PDP leaders in the state. A governorship aspirant in the state says it is high time the National Working Committee of the party did something about it.
3 years ago, and since this state was created, nobody from that particular zone that is known for resources, human and material, has governed that state. That's why a delegation from the area came to ask for the party to zone the gubernatorial seat to our area, so that if that is done, we are assuring the party that we are going to bring 80 to 90% votes coming from that area. We are appealing to the national chairman and the national working committee of the party and all other stakeholders in the party to please grant us this permission so that the next governor comes from this particular zone.
The distribution of permanent voter cards originally slated to commence Friday failed to take place as planned. CoreTV News went around Lagos metropolis only to discover that despite the turnout of residents, officials of the Independent Electoral Commission were nowhere to be found. Our correspondent Oluwaseyi Adegoke went out and brought back this report.
Many turned out but were totally disappointed and left for their various homes one after the other after waiting endlessly. This is the National Primary School at Yaba Ward D.
It's just a surprise to everybody. The INEC promised that, they will start the program today by 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock. Up to now, we have not seen them. We don't know what is happening.
I'm from Ajah, so I do my voter's card here. So till from morning down here till now, no shoe, no other thing.
The situation is not also different at the Maryland Immaculate Heart High School.
We have been here for the past 2 hours, expecting the INEC. But to our surprise, we look around, cannot find none of them.
It's very bad because I don't know, I've been here since 7 o'clock. Here, I've been here, but I'm not the only one. People are here too, but people are just left now. Because we have been waiting.
An excuse for the sad development leaves much to be desired.
See, this delay was not caused by the people, by the electorate. It was caused by INEC. And because of that, we should not punish them for this starting rather late. So what we are proposing, or what we are going to do, is number one, we are going to extend the collection time to 5 o'clock daily and give another 1 day extra to compensate for this delay. I once told the representatives of political parties that even the staggered arrangement of distribution, 11 local governments first, and then the remaining 9 local governments last, to me is a blessing in disguise for Lagos State, because it will afford us the opportunity of concentrating on those 11. First, we'll do the PVC and CVR for those 11. After the completion of that, we know that we have to concentrate on the remaining 9 for distribution of PVC and the continuous voter registration.
Even though the electoral body has promised to extend the exercise to correct all anomalies, Lagos residents who turned out for the first day of the very important electioneering process blasted the electoral officials for not living up to expectation. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, the sad experience that occasioned the first day of the distribution of permanent voter cards and the recent drop in the number of voter cards allocation to Lagos have not ceased to generate reactions. The Lagos chapter of the All Progressive Congress has called on INEC to put its house in order if it hopes to achieve free and fair elections in 2015. The State Publicity Secretary of the APC, Joe Ibokwe, wants INEC to ensure that the electorate receive their voter cards.
We said, okay, but we wanted INEC to go the whole hog and finish and do it in all the, give us our voters cards and all the permanent voter cards and all the 20 local government. But when they insisted that they must do it in 10, they're ready for 11. We said, okay, we mobilize our people to go out en masse to collect their PVC. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the greatest, shock of our lives this morning when we mobilized our people to various, those 11 LGS. There was nothing on ground. INEC was not prepared. And then up to the time I left from centers, there was nothing going on. Somebody told me that they came, the one in Alao said, yeah, via Achiwajo's mother's house, that they came around 4:30. And nothing happened. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth of the matter is that INEC was not prepared for this exercise. They told us that we registered 6.8 million voters. I think in 2011, before the 2011 elections. When the list was published, we saw 4.8. Now, what happened to 1.4? What do they want to do with it? Now, I don't know what they want to do now. You know, they said the second batch is going to come up in 27, 28, 29. Now, it looks as if they are going to merge it again. To us, we want total, to carry it out in all the 20 local governments. Yes, simultaneously, at a go. Not this and that. No, we don't want that. We therefore, my people, we therefore ask INEC and the REC in Lagos, Dr. Gumola, to put their house in order.
If you are a politician with the intention of doing business as usual, especially concerning the propagation of political messages, the Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency, LASA, says you must cross some hurdles before the voting public could hear from you. LASA, which seeks to present a decent communication environment in Lagos, held a stakeholder town hall meeting Friday on political campaign materials to enlighten politicians, political parties and their followers on the need to stick to regulated guidelines concerning positioning of political messages. Against this backdrop, the managing director of LASA, George Noah, speaking at the meeting, admonished political parties and politicians to submit their political messages for approval before exposing them to the public ahead 2015 elections in Lagos State. LASA added that failure to comply with these arrangements will attract a huge penalty.
Trees, banners across the roads, and so on. We will remove them. And that is why we had, this opportunity of bringing stakeholders to let them know exactly what they can do and what they cannot do. And we've been able to explain that there are things you need to take permission for. There are things you don't need to take permission for. And if we all adhere to this, then everybody will go about their campaign in the best possible way. We wish all the candidates and aspirants all the best, but they must all take part in this exercise in the best possible way such that they don't infringe and defile the environment in so doing. Part of our strategy for limiting the number of illegal deployments of outdoor materials is the penalties that we impose and also apprehension. We have a team whose job it is to go out and apprehend people and to prosecute them, to find them. So it's not that we don't have this. It's not only about removal, because we know that removal alone is not enough deterrent. We must be able to take some punitive action against people who continue to deface the environment.
You're still watching CoreTV News on the hour. After the break, many people were left dead and over 40 others injured when a twin bomb explosion occurred at a commercial bank in Azare, Katango local government area. We'll bring you more of that after this timeout. To join us again.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it, don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Glad to have you back now. For more information on our news and other programs, you can visit our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. And our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. You can also log on to YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space. The news. And many people were left dead and over 40 others injured when a twin bomb explosion occurred at a commercial bank in Azare, Katangon local government area of Bauchi State on Friday. CoreTV News gathered that the bomb blast occurred at the automated teller machine of the bank as customers were queuing to make withdrawals at around 9 a.m. on Friday. 2 men reportedly walked up to the ATM and pretended to be queuing to withdraw money, dropped an object shortly after, and hurriedly left the scene as an explosion followed immediately. As people hurried to assist the victims, another blast rocked the area, killing a higher number of people. Most affected are Bauchi state workers who were waiting to collect their salaries. It was further learned that the device was planted within the bank premises and exploded as customers, including workers and people from Musau, Shira, Giade, and Putuskan in Yobe State, lined up at the bank to withdraw their salaries. The incident followed another explosion in the state 2 weeks ago when a suicide bomber attacked a BC motor park in Azare, killing 12 people and injuring 46 others. In Adamawa State, Governor Balangelari does not seem bothered by reports that Boko Haram has renamed Mobi after hosting its flag there. Speaking after submitting his governorship nomination form in Abuja, the governor says he is more interested in making the displaced person more comfortable. He also insists that it is time to downplay politics in order to contain the current security situation.
Everybody can wake up and have his fantasy about what he wants. It's an individual thing. You know, I'm not bothered about that. That's not my immediate concern right now, is to see that our citizens who have been displaced and they cut across religion and tribe are adequately catered for. The question of whether you name Mubi Jerusalem or whatever doesn't really bother me.
The distribution of relief materials to victims of Boko Haram in Adamawa State has moved from the displaced people's camp to various centers in the city of Yola. Chairman of the Presidential Relief Materials Committee, Salihu Yunusa, says this strategy is aimed at helping those who are living in other people's homes.
Especially in Yola, Jimeta, Gire, and Fufore, that they are going to be registration officers of IDPs that have come from the northern zone or even from Borno and Yobe. If they are living in their houses, these people must be registered. If they are registered, it's a very good advantage for them because, first of all, we will reach out to them now that they are here. Secondly, when the security situation is curtailed, they are to go back to their places. The federal government, the international organizations, the state government will support them, you know, with funds. First, to transport them back to their place. Second, to maybe rebuild their houses. Third, maybe to rebuild their businesses. So this is an important issue, and I am calling of people that whatever you get, thank God, because it's a situation that nobody wants to happen.
Receiving the relief materials on behalf of the Christian community, Adamawa State Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Mike Moses, wants the government to intensify effort at reclaiming the communities in the hands of Boko Haram.
Our calling is for the government to intensify effort of reclaiming back Mubi and Imvrans, Michika and Imvrans, Madagali and Imvrans, other places that have been taken over by the insurgents claiming to be their own nation. I am calling on the federal government, the security agencies to do all within their possible best to reclaim back Mubi and Imvrans so that people can go back to their respective places and resume their respective duties so as to enable them have a peaceful life as others are having in parts of the country.
Former chairman of Mobi local government area, Kelvin Peters, thanked the federal government for the relief materials.
But as for the relief materials that has been just distributed, actually this is something that we have to say thank you to the federal government and state government and also the stakeholders or those that that give their time to carry out this responsibility.
The Nigerian Society of Engineers wants federal legislators to focus on timely consideration of legislations, especially in view of infrastructural development. NSC President Ademola Olorunfemi stated this while presenting the communique at the end of the 47th International Engineering Conference in Abuja. Some of the recommendations include development of a national infrastructure scorecard as a tool for a comparative assessment of the country's efforts in infrastructure delivery. Others involve putting in place mechanisms for more intra- and inter-agency collaborations for optimal infrastructure and utilization sustainability.
I presented a card like what we have in primary school, secondary school, and even universities, and score these cards in such a language that we'll all understand. What that tells you is that we now have a reference point to say, look, this is where we are on infrastructure, and it will also tell you what to do. It's going to allow policymakers, engineers and other professionals to take informed decisions, and government in particular to prioritize and know what to do. Because you need to assess, if you make this report, what will be the improvement over the years, and you will need at least 2, 3 or more years to see that improvement, so we can continue to grow that.
You're still watching CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take another break. We'll be back with more stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
And outside Nigeria now, U.S. President Barack Obama and leaders in the House and Senate have held cross-party talks aimed at ending political gridlock in Washington. Friday's White House luncheon came after the Republicans won control of the Senate in Tuesday elections. Obama, a Democrat, and heads of both parties in the House of Representatives and Senate were to explore avenues of compromise after years of rancor. Republicans have called their victory a rebuke of Obama's policies. Obama was on Friday joined for lunch by 16 senior legislators, including presumptive incoming Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Republican House Speaker John Boehner. Well, and that's a wrap on CoreTV News at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank on Manape. At top of the hour, we call Digest. Enjoy the day.